Whether you love us or hate us, Inside the Game back live across your airwaves, whether on Roku or YouTube, that is, episode 262. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Fun day today. Fun show coming up for you guys. You got U.S. Open Cup talk. Also, the opening of the Midwest League. Opening day as the Whitecaps here in Grand Rapids try to make their run back to a Midwest League championship. Everybody's like, what does that mean? Why do I care? You don't have to, but I do, okay? Because they made a big run last year, ended up winning the title. So I think I'm getting my ring coming up on Tuesday when they have their home opener.
Okay.
They're in Lake County, Ohio right now, but I'll show that one off on the show once I get it. I'm hoping it's gaudy. I'm hoping it's like the size of like 3 of my fingers, and I've seen some pictures so far, and they look pretty sick. So I'll be showing off those as soon as I get them. But to open up the show here today, Ryan Glinsky said he had a, quote, surprise for me. Him and Jonathan Turner were at Flint City versus DCFC yesterday, the showdown on the east side between the two best clubs the state has to offer. And now I'm kind of curious as to what exactly this surprise is.
Okay, so our one and only Sam Fisher.
Hey, Sam, would you wear a Soviet Union hockey jersey?
Probably not. Maybe in Russia.
America, baby. America.
Probably
USA.
in
USA.
Russia.
USA. Okay. You realize how un-American
Slava.
that is? You realize how un-American that is? Yeah, this is it. Our team's not even good. But
the
USA.
motherland.
Dude, you can't do that, man. That's not good.
Were they
Stop
even good?
it. Get some help.
Has Russia ever
Please.
been good at this? Stop it. Get some help.
Please.
Lay off the weed. Oh my goodness. No, okay. Well, Fish has got a point. I mean, I'll give him that. I would
asked
probably
a couple
wear it
other
in Russia
people
too.
by the way. We just didn't get them on camera, and they were like, they gave the same like, huh? Why would I ever wear a Soviet Union jersey? Like, these are proper Americans. Nate could be a Russian spy for all I know, because this guy doesn't. See, the thing is, Nate, I don't even know if you can claim the Miracle on Ice is like the greatest sporting event anymore, because you have to have you can't talk about it anymore until you get a Miracle on Ice jersey, because I don't know how you can say it's the greatest sporting event in the world, yet you rep the jersey of the loser.
What
and
if
you're not even from the Soviet Union? So you have to then, you can't claim it. You can't claim it.
But what if I get one of the new jerseys of the team that just won off of like the TikTok shop, because I think they're like $25
Nope.
right now, because like 8
Nope,
million people.
You gotta get a Michael Eruzione.
It's got to be like an
You gotta get a Michael
Eruzione.
Eruzione one, because you have a Soviet Union jersey from a dude who played then. I don't even know the guy's name, but yeah.
Hey man, but I
a
asked
lot
the
of people
Zamboni
gave dirty
driver.
looks to that question. They're like, why would I do that? Why would I rep?
I
Why would I rep
asked-
the ops? Why would I rep the
All I'm
ops? And Nate
It's
over
not
here is
the
repping
ops
the
anymore, man. They don't exist. They don't exist anymore. They're gone. I mean, there might be some, sympathizers somewhere, but irregardlessly. No, I asked the Zamboni driver at Patterson Ice Center, where I broadcast my games. I'm like, dude, I got a Trediac jersey. Look at this. He's like, oh, that's sick, man.
Where's he
I'm
from?
like,
What's his background?
the United States, I think. I think he lives down the road, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he like,
So,
what's his?
I think he's just
what's his like nationality? Like, is he Russian?
I have no idea. See, I didn't ask
So,
him when I was in
mind
there
you,
if
this
he had any
guy,
family
Nate,
members.
Doesn't like early games. He doesn't want to wake up and crack open a cold one because he's got to wake up early. Yeah, he doesn't even rep USA Hockey. He reps the ops, mind you. Next thing you know, this guy's gonna wear a Mexico soccer jersey on the podcast, because why not? It looks cool. And then he's gonna rep an Ohio State shirt for all I know. So,
But
don't
name
rep the
me a
ops.
legend. Name me a legend. A Mexican soccer legend. Can you name me one?
Yeah, can name you a couple.
Okay.
Chicharito.
There you go.
Ochoa.
There you go. Okay. Ochoa jersey. Chicharito jersey. From when they were playing. Authentic. Name on the back. Even authenticated. I'll even go as far as to say that. Like the real deal. It's vintage, right? You get a deal on it. Or you get it as a gift.
No, I'm not wearing it. Why would I wear a
Why
rival
not?
jersey? And why would I have
Okay,
another
the-
person's last name on the back of my jersey, on my shirt? That's another reason.
I will.
I don't rep rivals, Nate.
But we
Why would I
we
rep a
beat
rival?
them though. We beat them though. Like that's the
No,
thing.
we
Like
didn't.
it's almost like
we
it,
never
it
beat
could be.
Chicharito and
No,
we
no,
didn't.
no. Hold on,
we
hold on.
never
Not
beat
those guys.
Chicharito
Not
and
those guys.
Ochoa.
I'm talking
we
the
never
Soviet.
did.
Not. I'm talking the Soviet. I'm not talking those guys. I'm talking the Soviet Union
Nate,
with this
you do
jersey.
realize you do know history, right? And what the Soviet Union and the U.S. used to have. We're repping
No,
the ops. We
the
asked
Cold
like
War,
5
yes.
people yesterday, and they were like, "No, there's no way in hell I would ever rock a Soviet Union jersey."
It's not about the jersey. It's about the
It
man
is
who
everything
played
about the
in the
jersey.
jersey. Venislav Tretiak is one of the greatest goalies of all time. But they wouldn't know that. And I wouldn't expect the people that you ask to know anything about that. That's fine. That's fine.
Nate, you can't say
But
the
I'm just
Miracle on Ice.
saying.
You can't talk about the Miracle on Ice
it's-
until you get a Michael Eruzione jersey or a jersey of a Miracle on Ice, because you can't sit there and tell me, well, you know, I rock a Tretiak jersey and I'm the Soviet Union, but I just love the Miracle on Ice. It means you root for
Some
losers,
of us
Nate.
are
You root for
some
losers.
of us are history aficionados, and
Well,
specifically
clearly, if you were
sports
a history
history.
aficionado, you would
You
know
know-
about what the Soviet Union actually
Oh,
was.
yes, I know, but I know what we've also done as well. We kind of got a little bit of a checkered past. I mean, like every country you can kind of point at and be like, oh, you did some things that aren't very great. So I don't know, to each their own. I don't like communism. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's I think if Tretiak existed in a place that wasn't as totalitarian as the Soviet Union, he would have been able to go to Philadelphia. He would have had a storied NHL career, and
But
then
he
we
didn't.
wouldn't be having this conversation. But he didn't, because he was a part of the Red Army, and unless you kidnap those people the way that the Red Wings did in order to build their dynasty, you weren't going to get him out of the Soviet. But that's a fascinating story, by the way, to any Detroit fans who don't know about the dynasties, the early hockey town dynasties with Fedorov and all those guys. Look up the story of how they literally kidnapped a few players from the Soviet Union, because that's how you had to do it, because they would not allow, and that's why they could play in the Olympics. That was the fascinating thing, because they were considered soldiers, workers of the state, but they were professional athletes, because that's all they
Yet
did.
we're
They
gonna
just
rock
played
their jerseys.
24/7. It's a history. It's a piece of history, man. I'm just saying, some people appreciate history. That's all I'm saying. If you don't get the history, I'm not just going to wear, I'm not just going to wear a, I don't know. I'm not going to dress up like a
Nate's gonna come on
kamikaze
the
pilot.
show rocking a JT
you know,
Barrett
and-
Ohio State jersey.
No, that's where I draw the lines. Yeah, I don't do
Oh,
that.
we draw
Unless
the
I-
line at
unless I
Ohio
lose a bet.
State, but we don't draw a line at the Soviet Union? Yeah, this
Well, the
doesn't
Soviet
make
Union
sense.
doesn't exist anymore. If the Soviet Union still existed, then that'd be a different story. So,
Next thing you
anyways.
know, this guy's gonna rock a
I'm
Connor
gonna get a-
McDavid Canada jersey because hey, it looks cool.
But see, you wouldn't. Nobody would get at you for wearing a Canada jersey, though. You get Canada ain't doing anything.
You
They're
get
just
yelled
existing.
at probably.
They're just up there.
Yeah, let's
Depending
just rock
on where
one
you're
let's
at.
just rock one of America's greatest ops, the Soviet Union. Yeah.
We won, though. We won. So that's all I'm saying. U.S. Open Cup. Let's talk about it. I know they're doing their draw right now.
They
I
are. They
believe
haven't
it
gotten
is-
that
is
far
live,
yet. I've been
so
keeping tabs on it.
they
are
haven't? Okay.
Still, they're still just running highlights, so there's nothing
Yeah.
to talk about
Okay.
at the moment.
So we'll give you guys updates as we go. I know we wanted to talk about FIFA considering yet another expansion, but before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about yesterday. Obviously, you and JT and Mr. Fish, Sam Fisher, my favorite. I've worked a lot of games with him on the camera. He has saved my ASS
Yeah,
a
and
few
Sam's
times.
Sam's a
So-
proper American.
Sam is. I think Sam would just be a little uncomfortable, but also Sam doesn't know. I believe that Sam knows his history. So if I was like, Sam, it's a Venislav Tretiak jersey, he'd be like, oh, that's actually pretty sick. It's not. Yeah. So anyways,
Yeah, let's just
But-
rock the ops.
everything that your takeaways from yesterday, close game, close match between the two, and everything you wanted it to be between Flint City and DCFC. Obviously, both have a decorated history over there on the east side. I love my boys at Midwest United, but you can certainly say those two are the best two sides in the state. But what were your biggest takeaways from getting to cover that?
It was just what was expected. The opening 10, 15 minutes going to be all Flint City youthful group. I think the average age is 22. And then you look at Detroit City FC, I think their average age is like 28, something like that. A lot more experience on that Detroit side. And again, they've played games together. They have played in a couple of games as a whole group. They've had an offseason to train with each other. Again, this Flint City team is still kind of just, I forgot the guy's name, but they are telling us they literally, one player that was supposed to play this weekend or yesterday got hurt on the weekend in a college game. So they brought in a kid from Peoria who just got in, I think Monday or Tuesday, something like that, and he ended up playing 20+ minutes for Flint City in the game. So again, it's what happens sometimes when a USL 2 side plays against a USL Championship side. Is there again USL 2? We've talked about it. I think if the majority of the viewers know that these are college kids, and that's just kind of what happens. So that just wasn't that was kind of expected, and then eventually Detroit City FC, they just started to take over. And then they kind of just imposed their will. Alex DeLue, West Bloomfield native. He's played in NISA. He's played in all different levels of USL. He gets the goal, wins it for Detroit City FC because that's the only goal that was scored in the game. But then at the same time, Detroit City, they kind of got to rest the majority of their key players. So so that's a good benefit for them. They played 3 games this week. They had one against Charleston Battery last Saturday, and then they played yesterday, and then they have Rhode Island FC this weekend as well. So 3-game week for them, but they're going to get back at it this weekend. But again, they were able to rotate the squad, and that's exactly what happened in the game. And then look at this, what we can add on the graphic for you. Boom. Alex DeLue, 40th minute goal. Carlos Saldana, a clean sheet for him. He's been the cup goalie for Detroit City FC for a couple of years now. He gets it done. But Detroit City FC, just as the game went on, just defensively so good and all that fun stuff. Like, they were so good defensively, so good structurally, that eventually, that's going to happen. They're going to dominate the game. And, that's exactly what happened there last night. And they get it done.
Yeah, and experience is the big thing, right? I think that's sometimes the big thing between levels. It's not necessarily talent; it's just you're more seasoned, right, at the higher levels. And I think that was certainly maybe on display last night in that game. But just a cool, almost like a celebration type thing in that matchup between those two sides because of the history with the two clubs, which, just as a reminder to people watching the show, we will be bringing you all of USL2 and USLW coming up this summer here on the National Soccer Network. So Ryan and I are going to be busy doing a lot of different things with that league. Also planning on probably bringing some coaches on for interviews. I know we haven't done some in a while, but we've been on a roll with some of the stuff we've been doing. So just kind of continuing on, and everybody that jumps in the comment section, obviously you make it great continuing to come back and do it. But no, it's a really fun matchup, hotly contested, and obviously two sides that, a lot of pride over there on the east side of the state. And, I'll say this, it is really cool to see how much Flint has been able to do with what they have been given in that part of town. Playing at Kettering University, and obviously with how down on their luck that the city of Flint has been, and in several different ways over the course of the last, decade plus, they are kind of what I believe the USL wants to be, and that's kind of creating these pockets, these areas that are like hot zones for soccer. And I think Flint is certainly turning into that. Obviously, we see the maturation of DCFC and what's going to happen with that club. So I think it's really important to consider the fact that Detroit, and I know I made a statement about the city of Detroit and how, if you've never actually been, and not just downtown, right? If you've never actually been to the city. Now, I'm not saying there ain't dangerous places, but you don't really get to judge it because it has made so much progress over the last decade plus. You would be amazed with what some of the different places and of the city that have really been revitalized, including where DCFC is going. But it's hard for me to I can't comprehend how people sometimes don't realize that Detroit, in my honest opinion, I believe is either a top 5 or just outside of a top 5 sports town in the U.S. Every single sport there matters and people show up. you even saw the birth of the professional women's hockey league and how they debuted in Detroit. And the first thing that everybody wanted, sold out stadium, obviously, but they're like, you need to bring women's hockey here. And we've seen the growth of soccer, obviously, with DCFC going from what they were and just a couple of guys with a dream to now where it is in Flint City and the history that they have and how they will obviously continue to build. It's from an inside perspective, and I know there's a little bit of bias behind me saying this, I truly think Detroit is one of the biggest sports hotspots in the country. And so I think yesterday was it was almost like a celebration of that in the soccer space. And I know the media still doesn't give them enough attention. And honestly, I mean, we talked about it yesterday with the cultural significance. I don't think they ever will get as much attention as the Wings or the Pistons or anything else along those lines. But to bring those two fan bases together is to kind of remind Detroit and also Metro Detroit that we're kind of all in this together. And obviously, I hope Grand Rapids can catch up too. You know, I hope the team that we bring here can be competitive. Obviously, with being MLS next, I'm sure they can play some games out of league against DCFC and Flint. Obviously, they wouldn't be, you know, maybe US Open Cup type thing. I'm not quite sure. But the hope is that we can continue to bring this sport in Michigan to the next level. And I think yesterday was kind of a celebration of that, especially with how hotly contested and close and physical that matchup was. So it's always fun, man.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, sorry, no. I was watching the draw. I was seeing which group was getting drawn first. So the Kobe Jones group is getting drawn right now. FC Naples in Orlando City, and then New England Revolution, and where the Milwaukee Messi plays, and another team will get drawn first. Detroit City FC is actually in the DeMarcus Beasley group. So they have Chicago Fire, who killed Detroit last year in the U.S. Open Cup at home. And then they have, I believe, St. Louis SC and FC Tulsa. So definitely a favorable group for them to get out of. Obviously, there's only 32 teams left. But, yeah, no, we'll update that. We'll even put it on your screen at some point. But so here's what we could do. Here, what should we do? Because we still have the 4.5 minutes worth of interviews. We do want to show you the draw, but we do have to get to a commercial break. So let's do a commercial. Let's do a commercial break.
All right.
We'll come back with the interviews. Hear me mess up, and then we'll bring it back. So Nate, tell us about Bayern Munich.
FC Bayern summer soccer camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more at FCBayernYouth.com.
So the dream behind Irene's was simply to be a place where the community could come and gather. This is my hometown. We're raising our family here, and we just want to be a space where people can come together as a community and share a great meal. We've got golf simulators, we got pinball, live music, trivia nights, but we also have fresh, always homemade, locally sourced food, and we serve it with a sense of Gemütlichkeit. This is a German word that conveys a sense of warmth and coziness and belonging. We're excited to show off how we're growing and that this is the place to be.
Detroit City head coach Danny Dichio. Danny, how proud are you of this performance?
Really, really proud, because the games are coming thick and fast at the moment, and we knew we were coming to a really difficult place tonight. Flint Bucks are a very good team, very well organized team, younger team than us, so we had to put in a professional performance, and I thought every one of our players did that tonight. We could have scored a few more goals, but at the end of the day, we've put ourselves into the hat for the next round.
We kind of saw that youth in the first couple of minutes from Flint, and then eventually you guys just kind of took over. What was kind of the message with the guys heading into the game of maybe we expected that, or was that kind of just how it played out?
No, yeah, you're right. We were expecting Flint to be full of energy and pressing us and being aggressive, so we had to be brave on the ball. We had to be understanding of where we could hurt them in the flanks, where we have a lot of players that can hurt teams. So we did that, I thought, and then we relied on our wingers to create that little bit of magic, and Alex DeLu did that to score the goal by cutting inside and hitting the shot.
You rotated the squad a little bit today. How important was that for the squad?
For sure. I mean, as I said, we got a lot of games coming up. We got to rest Aaron Smith tonight, who's been struggling with a little bit of a knee injury, and hey, everyone wants to play, but we've also got to take care of our bodies. It's a long season, so delighted we got through that without any injuries and got the win.
How far can this team go?
As far as they want to go, it's just that belief and understanding that on our day we can compete with anyone. So we're looking forward to the draw later on this week and see if we maybe get an MLS team, and we'd love to see them at Keyworth.
It was really important. It was big time for the team. We fought through that one. The Bucks are a great team. They could have gone both ways tonight. We did well and we thrived in the wide areas and crosses and getting balls in the box, and we were lucky enough to come away with the win.
Chippy out there, physical game. How'd you keep your cool?
We've been in situations like this before. It's not crazy for us to grind a game out. Honestly, like we're used to it. On Keyworth, it's kind of the same type of energy, but a lot more fans cheering for you. And no, it was good.
How difficult is it to play? You just played on the weekend, you played today, and then you play on Saturday. How difficult is it to manage all three games?
To be honest, like for me, like the Open Cup is something that I like to play in. I'm happy to play in. It's in Michigan, so it's nicer. We don't have to travel anywhere. It's for some of the guys that are coming off the game on Saturday, and props to them to be able to come in and play 45, 60, whatever it is, maybe even a whole game. And I'm just proud of the team and happy that we got the win.
First year in Detroit, how are you enjoying it?
Loving it. Loving Detroit. Happy to be a part of it. Happy to be finally on the DCFC side. Just super excited for this year.
What have the fans been like? It's pretty hectic.
Hectic when you're on the other side. I don't like playing against DCFC, but I'm happy to be with them.
And lastly, how far can this team go?
Sky's the limit.
Well, everything. Obviously, when you have the 0 in the back, it's a good night. I think the boys were up for it. We defended properly. They gave us a couple of scares, a couple of worries, but ultimately we handled it and kept a clean sheet in the back.
Structurally, you guys were rock solid all over the place. You guys didn't give up many chances really at all. What was that? Was that kind of the message going in all week?
Yeah, I mean, we had to approach the game. We knew we had to approach the game with the right mentality and treat it with all the seriousness that it needed. Open Cup nights, anything can happen. We've been on the good side of things and on the bad side of things, so we knew we needed to have that right mentality and take it with all the seriousness that it deserved.
You've been the Detroit Cup goalie over the last couple of years. Do you kind of take pride in being the Cup goalkeeper?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working hard. Sometimes it's about what you overcome, and this March has been very difficult for me. So it's good to get these starts, get a good clean sheet, and keep pushing in the Open Cup tournament. I think there's been a couple of great nights that I've been able to be a part of, and hopefully we can have a couple more memories like that down the stretch.
How far can this team go?
All the way. If we do things right, I think we have that belief, and ultimately that's what it takes. These Open Cup nights, like I said, anything can happen, and you just got to play one game at a time, one play at a time, and looking forward to the next 90 minutes.
Yeah, and it certainly seems like there's
Yeah.
a mutual level of respect between the two sides. So good job on those interviews, Ryan. And that's it's always cool to see. I at least that's the vibe that I felt. Like there was a level of respect and kind of admiration on both sides.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like there was no bad blood after the game either. And it felt like they all kind of respected each other. I mean, some of these kids are, or
Yeah.
some of these guys, I should say, rather are from the same area. Same people from Michigan. Like obviously, I mentioned a couple Michigan kids from on DCFC, and then a couple that
Mhm.
were on Flint City that are from the state of Michigan as well. So, and then obviously, I mean, you kind of all like all these teams. You know, obviously they're different. Like if you look at a Michigan or a Michigan State, like obviously they're on different sides, but everyone kind of knows each other
Right.
a little bit, if that makes sense. Like everyone kind
Yeah.
of
Yep.
knows one another.
We've all played in
some-
the same environments.
yeah,
Yeah.
in some fashion.
Yep.
Like everyone kind of
Right.
knows each other a little bit. So a lot of mutual respect with everyone, and then some people were just trying to get to know each other like after the game as well. Like, where are you from, man? Like,
Yep.
it was funny seeing like the Europeans talk with the European Flint players and the European DCS people. It was like, bro, where you from, man? Where you from? Like, I noticed the accent or whatever. So no, it's that was a little fun. But yeah, no. Shout out John and Sam for John helped us get a lot of the interviews as well. Like he knows Alex, obviously. He knows some of the media people for Detroit City FC. So he was able to bring Carlos Saldana, who was literally just about to like be done for the night, head on the bus and head home. But he comes out, does an interview. Shout out to him. And then Danny Dicchio. We were the only people to actually interview him one-on-one. The other interviews he did, it was a group of people. So shout out John for that. Shout out Sam Fisher as well for freezing his ass off for for like 4 hours.
Did you get to chat? You get to chat with Neil at all? I'm
No,
assuming
Neil was
was
not
there
there at
last
all.
night.
Neil
Oh,
was
really?
being lame.
Okay.
Neil was being lame and
Being
sat at
lame.
home.
Hmm.
This guy Neil, man.
What a
This guy
lame
Neil.
guy. With his kids and stuff and his wife.
Yeah,
Gosh,
why
what
do
a
that,
guy.
Neil? Come on.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's get into I know we're doing US Open Cup stuff. We're covering that live as we go here. So you just want to give updates as we go, or you want to do it periodically?
So when
Okay.
the Detroit group comes up, I will put it up on the screen. I already have it. So basically what seems to be happening is they do the 4 groups there, and then they then have some interviews afterwards. So let's get into one of our discussions here, and then once Detroit comes in, I'll kind of like abruptly end the conversation so we can put the
All right.
DCFC thing on, and then Nate and I will react to it. We'll still be on screen. So yeah.
Is there a Russian word you can use to tell me to stop talking so that you can like read off the results or what we're
I'll
waiting
just say
for?
Eruzioni, because I know that scares the Russians. Eruzioni, and then they still wake
Snap
up from
out of
sleep.
it.
They wake up in a cold sweat.
Oh man, but no, let's talk about it. The greed is endless when it comes to FIFA. And this is something we've obviously already well established. It's something that we see in a lot of other leagues, even here in the United States. And I know you guys probably hate our comparisons to American sports, but I would argue it's the same exact concept that we've seen in college football. Everybody wants to expand. Everybody wants to have that NCAA March Madness tournament vibe where you have so many teams and so many games and so many places you can watch, and basically an entire day from the beginning to the end, and even multiple days for that matter, where you just can sit around and watch games and bet on games and eat food. And everybody wants to expand, and they say it's because of the experience. I don't believe that for a moment. It's for the money. That's what it is. We don't need to expand to include extra teams to know who the best teams are. Honestly, you could probably, in any playoff format, in any league ever, you could probably take 10 teams and be okay. We would know that those 10 teams are the best possible teams to compete for a championship. But being expansionist is just how it goes for these corporations, these organizations that, again, money is the number one priority. How do you raise the bottom line? You continue to make more. How do you do that? You introduce more games. Doesn't matter if the viewing product isn't great. Doesn't really matter if the product on the field is absolutely just terrible, they're going to do it anyways because they want to reach those profit margins. So anyways, FIFA is seriously considering a 64-team tournament in 2030, 16 groups to mark the century of the World Cup. Opening matches in Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, rest of the matches primarily hosted by Spain, Morocco, and Portugal. Ryan, I have actually a better idea than just 64 teams. How about we just expand it to 192 teams? Why not?
Might as well at this point.
Kiribati versus France. I can't wait to see that matchup. That is one that's going to be for the history books. It might go down as the most lopsided game in the history of international football.
I'm going to do a 23
They might put up
or whatever that DNA test is. I'm going to try to find like if I can like represent a country, and I want to represent them in the World Cup.
Some obscure island country no one's ever heard of. It might be 35-1 in that matchup. How about Tuvalu versus the United States?
That's
so that maybe American fans, it is a country, so that maybe we can win that one 18-1 and then turn around and be like, hey, we're actually pretty good. We have a chance of winning this thing. No, we don't. How about Lesotho versus Spain?
Hold on real quick.
That is really
real quick. I know you're getting things going here, but we do have like an Atlanta United kind of
here we go.
So Atlanta United, Chattanooga FC, Charlotte Independence. I thought we should probably throw it in there because Callum Ewing goes to all the games. Yeah. NSN always writing articles about Atlanta United, so just thought I'd put that in there. They're in the Clint Dempsey group. Again, I don't. I guess there's like a group of 4 of them. So. Yeah, and now they're gonna hit a commercial. So, sorry about that, Nate. I just had to put it out there. I know we got some Atlanta United content.
All good.
So,
yeah.
Figured we should put that.
I've never been. Well, I have been to Atlanta. I shouldn't say that. I've driven through Atlanta, which, by the way, your highways are the most horrifying. It's horrible.
What I heard.
I'm terrified every time. But anyways. Wrapping up my rant. The last one that I had here is Comoros, I believe is how it's pronounced.
I don't know
Belgium,
these countries,
which I think would be another great matchup. The matchup of the century. How far does the greed actually go for FIFA? Like, how far does it actually go? How much is enough? Is this a show or is this a tournament to decide the best footballing nation in the world? Is this just a cash grab, or is this genuinely set up to figure out who deserves to hold the most coveted trophy in this sport? We are getting away from all of that. And this is the thing when people are like, well, nobody wanted the U.S. for the World Cup. You don't think FIFA has kissed up to the United States because of the potential to make more money than they have anywhere else in the world? It is, and if you're arguing that the product itself does not matter nearly as much to FIFA, and to that point, it's watered down, and it's not going to be the greatest World Cup we've ever seen in the U.S., I would shake everybody's hand and go, you're 100% correct. But that's not necessarily the U.S.'s fault. This is FIFA. These are FIFA decisions. This is what FIFA wants to do. They want to expand. They want to do more. I still think so too. I think
say it's going to be trash. It ends up becoming magical, which
people,
is really weird.
Well, people want it to be trash because it's in the U.S. So that's kind of how that boils down.
Like if we looked at the World Cups I've watched, so 2010, we obviously had the birth of Tiki Taka, Death by 1,000 Passes, beautiful soccer being played left and right from Spain, and then we had Messi just getting belt from Germany 4-0. Unbelievable. Then you had the iconic Vuvuzelas, which are now banned from all FIFA games. So thank you, South Africa. And then in 2014, we had the iconic 7-1. Then we had Messi losing a World Cup final. So again, crazy stuff happened again there. And then we had, and then Ronaldo lost in the group stage to, guess who? The United States men's national team. Shout out Clint Dempsey and the boys. And then in 2018, you had Russia make a run. I know Nate was really ecstatic about that because I know how much he loves Russia. And then you had Kylian Mbappe scored as an 18-year-old in a World Cup final, which hasn't happened since Pele. And then you had 2022, which I will still say, neutral aside, this is for pure neutral sports perspective. Because obviously Michigan winning a national championship is the best thing that I've ever watched. But from a pure neutral perspective, it created the greatest sporting event known to mankind, and that was Messi versus Mbappe. You think of the storylines. Is this young 22-year-old going to overtake Messi at the age of 22 by winning 2 World Cups? Or are we going to have the GOAT solidified in soccer? Is he going to get that GOAT status? And then they're like, no, we're going to do something better. We're going to put the GOAT up 2-0, and then all of a sudden, Mbappe is going to score 2 goals in 2 minutes, and it's going to force extra time. And then we're going to make it 3-3, and then we're going to have a PK shootout. It was unbelievable. So I still think we're going to have crazy moments. The only thing I'll say, and I know you're probably going to say it, is just because you expand does not mean you're going to get better games.
No, and that's not the point. Like that's not the point. And of course there's going to be magical moments. Of course, when you get down to the end, the Final Four coming up this weekend is about to be a riot. Those
Can I just say the Final Four is stupid?
Games,
they play basketball and
why?
football
Because Illinois
stadiums.
is in it.
They play basketball and football
yeah.
stadiums. That is the dumbest thing anyone. Like, I'm telling you, if I had the chance,
They should
to
be in
say,
NBA stadiums.
Up. Aruzioni. Sorry about that, Nate.
Ooh, no, you're good.
Aruzioni. So look at that. They didn't even. They just skipped the whole draw. They were like, we're hurting for time. So Detroit City will be playing Chicago Fire. St.
Chicago
Louis
Fire
will be taking on FC Tulsa, and also Chicago Fire is one of the 8 MLS sides that will be playing away. So they have seeded 8 MLS teams at home and 8 MLS teams away. So this game will be played at Keyworth, which the last time an MLS side came to Keyworth was a loss. Wait, are they hosting? Bro,
hold on.
This is confusing.
April 14th or 15th, and Greg Berhalter will be at Keyworth Stadium.
Oh my God, you're right.
Against Detroit City FC.
I forgot about that.
I'm coming. If I can, I gotta check what's obviously the minor league
Don't
schedule.
say that all that fast. Do not say that fast. Oh my goodness. Whew. So FC Tulsa. Okay, maybe they're not. I'm confused now. Oh, so they get hosting priority. So I take it. We don't have the audio in, obviously, but so I take it. FC Tulsa would then, if they get into the next round, FC Tulsa would then host the next one.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We're figuring this out on the fly, guys. We're figuring this out.
Okay.
But no. So there's eight MLS teams seated away. That is Atlanta United, Austin FC, Chicago Fire, the Columbus Crew, Minnesota United. Shout out Mech Jack. I don't know if you're ever watching. New York City FC, Orlando, and Sporting Kansas City. And 8 teams seated at home, which is Charlotte, Colorado, DC United, Houston Dynamo, New England Revolution, Red Bull, San Jose, and St. Louis. So those 8 teams are away, 8 teams at home. But yeah, no, let's just keep this thing rolling. See what happens. Let's see. I mean, I wonder. Okay, Detroit. Okay. So we're hoping that FC Tulsa loses. So because if we were to win, we'd host another one.
Okay.
This is more exciting than the Detroit Red Wings collapse. God, this is way more exciting. Okay.
Who we got? Okay.
Chicago Fire will be hosting 3rd. Okay. Dude, this is okay. I like this for Detroit City FC. You're telling me Greg Berhalter's walking in? No.
Berhalter is coming to Keyworth Stadium.
Hopefully there's no distractions.
St. Louis City
with the Chicago
FC.
team. But mind you, this Detroit team lost to Chicago Fire 4-0 last year in the U.S. Open Cup in Chicago. And the Detroit team, they've gotten things rolling a little bit. You know that they're going to, in typical Detroit fashion, you know what they're going to do? They're going to take that as motivation. They're going to put some BTA on Chicago. We know how Detroit rocks. We know how Detroit rocks. The 313 will be there. The 313 will be there. They ain't scared of Chicago. They'll be there.
What's up?
And it's Greg Berhalter on the other side.
That's the part that I'm excited about. I want to chirp Greg Berhalter.
By the way, that's
so
Brighton.
bad.
That is Chicago Fire against Michigan, or not Chicago Fire. That's Detroit City FC against Michigan Rangers. Maybe we'll see Sam Fisher on the sideline. Okay, this is yesterday's game. Oh no, we're not going to get a chance to see Sam Fisher. Okay,
the Fishman, you might find it. You might the Fisherman. You might see him here. I don't know. He always pops up somewhere. Look in the background. Maybe he's got a camera somewhere.
He was always on. He was on the touch line.
Oh, he was on the top
on the other side. So the DeMarcus Beasley group will have Detroit City FC. I mean, we don't have the audio in. So I take it they should be hosting this game. I'm pretty sure. I think they told us yesterday too.
I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping. And also the thing that's fun about with the close proximity with the sidelines and everything, you get Greg Berhalter, but you also get
dude,
to
he's
like
gonna
be
get chirped so
literally
bad.
on top of him. Yes. Yes. You did this to us.
So, also another fun, interesting tidbit for all of our U.S. men's national team fans and our Real Sociedad fans, if you're watching. But El Paso Locomotive actually has former U.S. Young Player of the Year and then Sociedad player Alex Mendez on El Paso, and he scored a banger yesterday in their game to send them through. But former U.S. men's national team Young Player of the Year is actually on. Is on El Paso. So there you see Louisville City, Austin FC. That's going to be a great one because Louisville City is like that mid-major team that always gives teams fits. Like no matter, like all the top teams fits. I don't understand why, but they're just always.
I agree.
Like they're like, what's a good comparison? They're like the old Wichita State. Like when they were good. Like, they're making a Final Four. They were a 1 seed. They went undefeated. They'd make Sweet 16s all the time. Like, they're like that, dude. They're just good, man, as a mid-major. But, all right, there you have it. Detroit City FC will be playing April 14th to the 15th, I believe, at Keyworth against the Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
And
That's freaking awesome,
I'll update a little bit more as we go on if there's any other crazy storylines. But Greg Berhalter
Greg
is making his way to Detroit City FC or Detroit. And let's see, is there any? Okay, there's no. So they actually have a live chat going on YouTube, but I don't see any. Don't see any Detroit comments in there. So, but there you have it. The DeMarcus Beasley group has been decided, and it'll be Detroit City FC. Chicago.
The Caps are away from home that week, so 14th or 15th, I'm gonna find my way down there. 100% I need to see that.
Okay, so we are way late for breaks, so let's take a break here.
All right,
we're gonna do this a little bit differently. Nate, you're gonna tell us about Barca Academy because obviously we got to get this thing in. We will continue then the World Cup conversation on the other side of the break, but we will. Okay. We will be posting we should definitely post our DCFC reaction. So, all right, let's, so Nate, tell us about Barca Academy.
Okay, sounds good. Barca Academy is a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States. Designed for boys and girls aged 6 to 18, Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30, and that's FCB30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song "Grown" on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca Camp.
Our number one of Inside the Game continues here on the National Soccer Network. DCFC will host Greg Berhalter. The U.S. Open Cup. Chicago Fire is coming to Detroit to take on DCFC. and you saw it April 14th or 15th. So they said either one of those two dates it's going to be. So obviously we'll keep you guys updated on when and where. And you can find Ryan and myself there as well. So if you've been waiting for an opportunity to, mother F us for a long time because you've been watching your show and like these guys suck, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, you'll find us at Keyworth Stadium chirping Greg Berhalter the entire time. But you wanted to continue the World Cup conversation. What I want to hear your opinion on it, because I feel like I did a lot of yapping there for a second about how it's ridiculous and greedy from FIFA to want to add new teams. And I heard what you said about, it's watered down, but just don't think that's their intention, is to actually make it a better tournament. I think it's just to add more games, add more money to their pockets.
It's just like every other league in the world. Like anything in America. What do you mean we're going to add more wild card teams to the NFL playoffs? What do you mean we're going to add more wild card teams to the MLB? The only leagues that haven't really expanded, oh no, I guess the NBA technically has. Because if we talk about the play-in games, then yeah, they've expanded. I guess the NHL is the only one that hasn't expanded. I guess. Yeah, no, because they've stayed the same. Shout out the NHL, man. The NHL doesn't get enough love. Shout out the NHL for not being like college football or the NFL. Like you guys are doing good things.
Oldest professional trophy in North American sports, and they've been doing it the same way for a long time. They've switched up a few things, but very much into tradition.
They haven't done the main thing here. Okay. The Colorado Switchbacks. Remember we interviewed their head coach?
Yeah.
They'll be hosting Sporting Kansas City, so shout out them.
Okay.
Shout out them. In the
Big
actually,
shouts.
if there's a USL Championship team on the screen that we've interviewed their coach, I will put them up on the screen for us, for you guys to watch. So, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I love the Colorado Switchback jerseys. Like, I'm not gonna lie, their jerseys are so clean. They're so
100%.
And Union Omaha, please beat the Colorado Rapids because Stan Kroenke runs the show over there. So please, please beat them. So there's that part in the Paul Caligiuri group. Okay, shout out that, I guess.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
Again, it's every league. It's basically it's just a business at this point. FIFA wants to get the most bang for the buck. I can't hate it. College football playoff has done the same thing. The NFL has done the same thing. The only concern that I truly have about any of this is just the players. Is the player health, is the player safety, all that fun stuff. Because I mean, look, it's the sad thing is a lot of these players are, again, there was comments on my last video when I last talked about this of, well, the top players, it's only like the top players actually play this. Well, if we are adding in certain countries that, players may not get all the way in, like I think of a guy in this situation like a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Like he played for Gabon, and Gabon was never making a World Cup. They were never making an AFCON. They never made anything because the team sucked. But now if we're going to add in all these different teams, he now has a shot. And this guy is now going to add in an extra 2.5 weeks to his year. And you are killing these players. And I mean, I don't know if there's like a football players association or something, because like I don't know how it works, because you have so many different leagues. Like obviously here in America, you can have an NFL player association. Well, you can have an NBA because it's just one league. But in soccer, it's so different because there's so many different leagues. And that's my only concern is just the player health, because on the flip side of things, you still have the club season. You're still competing in Champions League, might be competing in the league, might be competing in separate cup competitions. So that's the only thing that I'll say about this. To your point about, well, how greedy is FIFA going to get? Well, I mean, it's a business. That's what they're going to try to be as greedy as they can, because college football playoff is doing the same thing. The NFL is doing the same thing. The NBA is kind of doing the same thing, but they all rest their players anyway, so they don't even really play all these games regardless. But no, that's the only thing that I'm truly concerned. It's not going to make the tournament better in terms of a playing aspect in the games, but yeah, no, it's not going to be anything better.
Yeah, and I mean, where is the representation for the players? I mean, that it's true. I mean, within leagues, it's you can build those levels, those layers in there that will protect players from having to, again, exhaust themselves to the point to where they would have to if we continue to expand and add more. It doesn't add quality. I get it. There might be an individual player here or there that's like, I might not ever make it with my home country, but it doesn't add any quality. And yeah, okay, I get it. Corporations are greedy, but that doesn't mean we can't call it out and be like, it's stupid, because it is stupid. So anyways,
everyone's been
but
saying
getting
stupid,
into
but
our
yet nothing changes.
Yeah.
Like, we can
Well,
call it how stupid it is, but like,
right, because they have
nothing's gonna
autonomy.
change.
They have autonomy, right? So I'm just saying it's not going to make it any better. So I don't see any storyline in which it makes the games any more quality or it makes the tournament any more quality. You just kind of have to laugh at it, right? It's not a situation where we're going to change anything. It's funny to see how far the greed goes, because it's not about making the tournament better. It's just about how do we add more.
It's going to make it
more.
will make the World Cup more difficult to win. It's because you're gonna add more teams, and means you might have another round.
Injuries.
But if they're injuries, but if they're smart, they would just take the top 2 teams of every single group and just keep it as a round of 32. That's the smartest thing. But that we know FIFA doesn't operate that way, so they could add like another, I don't know, but another group of some sorts. But that would make the most sense.
Let's chat about this last conversation we have here in hour number 1, which I think is a really interesting one that you wanted to get into, Ryan. And it's something that has it's a main conversation that has emerged when it comes to Man United, and it's the question of, if Michael Carrick was there all season, would they have been in a title race? You are very emphatic in your beliefs on this, but they've been in a good stretch of form as of late. Unbeaten in 9 matches, I believe it is now. 7 wins, 2 draws. He's been doing pretty good. I don't know if he's a long-term option. Obviously, there's a split kind of down the middle. I wouldn't say down the middle, but there's certainly people that don't believe he's a good long-term option, you yourself included. But with everything he's been doing lately and the form they've been in, you don't think they would have been in any different of a position than they are now if he was there the entire season long?
No, they'd be Aston Villa. That's what they would be. Because how could we? Because I want to do another example for all the Man United faithful out there. You do realize that the best manager that you've had in 5 years, probably since post Fergie, you're always at the wheel. You do realize this guy went, and as an interim to end the season, he went 14 wins out of 19 games, right? Like, you do realize this guy was insane as an interim. Then all of a sudden, he got figured out a little bit. The tactics got stale, and the players look, nothing's changing with this club. You can add in whatever manager you want. They've proven they can't do anything with the proper manager. They've had Jose in there. They've had Louis van Gaal in there. They had Ralph Rangnick. But until they fix things internally, they aren't doing anything. Yeah, you might have a magical night in Paris every now and again. You might have a magical night at Old Trafford or the Etihad when you beat a Man City. You might have a magical night at the Emirates when you beat us. But nothing changes until you change internally. It is the same stale club. It's still the same toxic club as it has been since post-Fergie. It's the same thing. You're telling me you haven't updated the facility since Ronaldo left back in like 09, 08? You're telling me you haven't updated that? You have a damn waterfall coming out of your stadium when it rains for more than 5 minutes. Nothing has changed about this club. And they've even said themselves, every manager has come out and said, we need to change everything internally. We need to a whole just change of the squad. But until something changes internally at the top, nothing about this changes. And I've said, I talked about this back in January. The Manchester United cycle of insanity. We're at the level, we are currently at the stage of the cycle of insanity where we're still in the honeymoon phase of the interim manager. They're still not a permanent manager. They're just running with house money at this point. Have they had the most points in the second half of the season? Yes, they have. They have the most points. Bruno Fernandes is unbelievable. But this isn't something sustainable. It's not. And the history has proven every single time that there is a history of this. And once you get things rolling a little bit, it doesn't become any better. It's not.
Yeah, and even bad teams can have good stretch of form. Even
A
bad
blind
teams
squirrel
can
finds
go
a
on
nut every
winning
now and again.
streaks. Yeah,
A broken
it
clock
happens.
is still right twice a day.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Wings. I mean, if you want to use as a hockey example, I mean,
They're
people aren't really going
first
to
in
get
the
that
East for how
probably in our
long,
soccer
and now they're not
conversation,
even
right?
in the playoffs.
You know, so but I will say there is something to be said about if he was there at the beginning of the season, they would be in a different spot than what they are now. Maybe not in a title race, but they would be better in a better position than what they are now. They wouldn't have had to go through maybe as many valleys as what they did.
So-
Because I don't see him winning these matches, and by the way, being undefeated in nine straight as being some sort of like farce. Like once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, sure, but 9 starts to seem like this is a trend. And maybe he is a good manager. Maybe he's a great manager. But you're right. The point is, and what Ryan's trying to say, and I agree with it, is the fish rots from the head down, right? So if we're not in a good position with the top of the top and the people who are making the decisions in terms of, you're right, updating facilities and everything else, being a good manager can only take you so far, because they're not going to give him any sort of leg up. So that raises the question of, like we talked about once upon a time, because you said Michael Carrick didn't want the job, but now we're seeing people saying he is the best choice in terms of a long-term option.
It's a slippery slope
for Man
because
United. So what is it?
it's
Does
a
Michael
slippery-
Carrick want it or not?
Look, this is what's going to happen. I will already tell you what's going to happen. They're going to finish in a top 4 spot. Because, mind you, there's something else we got to put into perspective here. There's no European football at all this year. They're playing twice a week. They get to rest the whole week. They're not in any other competitions. And this squad, if I look at this squad's not good. The squad, there's no depth. You have Bruno Fernandes, who's unbelievable. This guy, if this guy was on a proper team, this guy might be a Ballon d'Or winner, but he's not. And that's something else we got to put into perspective here, is this team is not deep to make even a title run. This team is like 2022 Arsenal. Like, there's this squad, like, they're having fun, they're playing well, but they're not. There's nothing special about this team. Like, I'm looking at the roster right now. Outside of, I mean, Sesko's a good potential guy. I mean, he hasn't been bad, but I still don't rate him as a proper striker. But I'm just looking at this team. Cunha, I guess, isn't bad. Casemiro's old. Like, there's so much about this team that still needs to be fixed. And I get it. They're sitting in third right now. But you're also, if he were to have the whole season, he's going to get figured out more. Remember when Todd McClellan first got in the Red Wings and they were winning games all of a sudden? It's like, oh, my God, Todd McClellan's great. And then everything starts to unravel. Like, once Carrick gets figured out, mind you, this guy's hasn't managed in the Premier League ever. Frank Lampard had a good start of his Premier League career. Guess where he is? He's back where he belongs, in the championship. So once this guy gets figured out a little bit, that's what's going to happen. And we're going to have a transfer window. They're going to spend $200 million plus this summer, and it's going to be great. Oh my God, we might be favorites to win something here. We might win a trophy. And guess what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen, because it's Manchester United. It's the same level of insanity every single time. They don't do anything different. How can we sit there? How can we sit there and have these managers who literally come in this club as interims, and we have players who come into this club and then leave, and they're like, it is the most toxic situation I have ever been in my player career or my managerial career. Everyone says it. Yet, all of a sudden, just because Michael Carrick had a good run here in the second half of the season, all of a sudden it's going to change everything? No, nothing's going to change about this club. It's toxic. Nothing about this club changes. Nothing.
Yep. And I think, Michael Carrick hasn't given a straight answer on any of this. So I think when people say that he would be a good long-term option,
either. He's not going to be.
I think but from an individual perspective, would he be a great option? Yes, but does it change the bottom line for an organization that, again, at the top doesn't really know what they're doing and haven't known for a while what they're doing, and have just kind of been sitting back on their hands and kind of hoping and wishing, basically existing on hopes and prayers that this dynasty is going to return for Man United. And it's not, if they're not proactive about it. But also, let's not forget, I mean, they might not even be sold on keeping Michael Carrick long term because we know how Man United is. We know the carousel of managers that have been in and out of there. So just because they've had a good run of form doesn't mean that relationship is solid.
So,
but I still think he's a great manager.
This history has happened before. So Carrick has only managed one other team, and that was Middlesbrough back in the championship of October of 2022. They were 21st in the championship. He brings them into the playoff contention to win 16 of his next 23 games, right? Then the following season misses the playoffs, and then the following season misses the playoffs again. So he's taken teams before and has vastly improved them immediately right as he comes in. But it's not sustainable. This guy does not have a sustainable track record. And are you telling me, as a club of Manchester United, a club of this stature, you're going to hand the keys to a guy who's only managed in the championship? You're going to give him the keys to everything. You're going to let this guy manage millions or hundreds of millions of pounds. You're going to let this guy go spend money. It's a slippery slope with Michael Carrick. It is a slippery slope.
And we know recency bias works. We talked about it yesterday. You do something well for a while or a short amount of time, people start to think you're the next guy. But winning is winning, and he's won. And so to that option, I still think he would be a good option. He's not going to have any
trophies. He's only won in, I think, he's only won for 3 months. That's not a good. That's what we're basing everything off of. I still think. But what who's the old Chelsea guy that got fired in the midseason? That's the guy I go after if I'm Manchester United. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah,
but that's the guy I go after.
Let's not act like coaches haven't sucked in one place and then rediscovered themselves in another place.
Nate, this is the same cycle. Happens every single time with this club.
I know. I'm not saying they're going to break the cycle. I'm not. This isn't me standing up for Man United and going they're going to figure it out all of a sudden. Not at all.
If I'm United, who I'm going after is Enzo Maresca. That's the guy's name. That's who I'm going after because this guy was fired prematurely. He was in a title race in the middle of the year, and then he lost 3 games, and you're fired. We didn't see this whole thing out. We did not see this whole thing out. And to be honest with you, I think Maresca will take the Man City job when it's all said and done. But if I'm United, I'm going after this guy because every person in the media has said Michael Carrick's a slippery slope because do you really want to go down that path again? Do we really want more Oles at the wheel? Do we really want that for Manchester United?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and making knee-jerk reactions based off of just what you've seen, right? You gotta actually vet people and figure out what your identity is, which I don't know if they have one as an organization. That's the hard thing. So anyways, at least one that is relevant now versus not, years and years and years ago. But let's move on. We'll get into our all sports conversation on the other side of things. We got a few spicy topics today. I'm actually excited. These are good ones, including the Frank Ragnow situation. First, we'll tell you about Man City Soccer Camps, though, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code MCNSN30. Again, that's MCNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you at usacamps.mancity.com. Back in live and inside the game, hour number 2 here on the National Soccer Network and Sports Nation TV. Again, the Sports with a Z. Getting into our all sports content here on the show today. Ryan, first topic here. This one really trips me up because I don't think in a million years I would have ever imagined the reality of something like this taking place. Mostly because I remembered the feeling when John Beilein took a job in the National Basketball Association. So the storyline we're starting off with here today in the all sports section, Izzo almost took the Suns job, quote, I seriously considered it, unquote. And let me just put it this way. John Beilein made the decision to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I had a gut feeling almost right away. I'm like, this ain't going to work out. And not because John Beilein's not a good coach. And it had nothing to do with really Cleveland as an organization. I think that was after LeBron. So I think that was when they were kind of back on the downswing and trying to build back up again.
It was just Colin Sexton and Darius Garland that were there.
I think Andre Drummond was on the team too, which Andre Drummond, I mean, he's grown up recently. He's really been kind of honest about the mistakes he has made in his career, but he was a little bit of a, little bit of a shithead there for a little bit. So probably not the best group to be a part of, but took the Cavs job. And I just remember feeling right away, I'm like, this is not going to go well because John Beilein had developed a coaching tendency and a way of coaching that was suited to the college game that I still believe exists in the game now. The difference between coaching in college basketball and the NBA, while that gap is shrinking and it is becoming more like the NBA, it is still not the National Basketball Association. So if Izzo were to go to the NBA, that would have been, I'm firm in saying this, that would have been the worst mistake of his career. You just have to look at John Beilein for the answer as to why that is. Also, I think college basketball is better with Izzo, whether to hate on him or whether to love him. I don't know. I just think it's better with him in it. But again, coaching college versus coaching the NBA are two different universes, completely different universes. College is developing boys to men. Even if an 18-year-old is making $2, $3, $4 million, you still have to develop them into a man, right? Even at 18, Bryce Underwood, very talented, making a lot of money, but he still has to grow up. And so the majority of your job as a college coach, I heard a college coach say this once. He goes, it was a football roster. So he's like, I have 68 kids, 2 at home and 66 in front of me, right? And that's the reality as a college coach. I don't care how much money they're making. In the NBA, you're managing personalities, right? Like if you step into that Oklahoma City Thunder locker room, I don't care if they're the same age as the college players you were just coaching. SGA is not going to be coached the same exact way that Connor Johnson's going to be coached at college. He's not going to take it. Like, dude, I got hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm the best player in the world. It's about managing personalities, and also it's about playing politics. Like, you have to earn that respect. I don't care if Izzo coaches in college basketball for a million years. Yeah, they'll give you some level of respect, but you still haven't coached in the NBA, right? So you have to earn your way. And for Izzo, I've been in this thing for decades. What do you mean I got to earn my way? Yeah, you haven't been a part of the association. It's different. Same thing with Beilein. Beilein was great in college. I'm sure he was respected by a lot of people. Cavs didn't care. Players didn't really care when he started coaching the way that he did in college. So, and the other part of this, and this is the last, my take on this, you can't complain about NIL, right? And then coach a team where they make hundreds of millions of dollars. Like in college, we're praising Jeremy Fears for pushing his chair in after the interview in the post-game press conference.
And kicking people in the balls.
But in the NBA, what's that?
And kicking people in the balls.
There you go. And in the NBA, we got SGA dressed as an Eskimo in the post-game press conference. If we're married to this idea that Izzo likes the way it should be done, that's not the NBA. It's a fashion contest. It's egos. It's all-stars. It's big money. It's all these things that, It's the flash and the Shazam, and that's what the NBA is. That's not who Tom Izzo is. So if he would have gone to the Suns, no, that would have been the worst mistake of his career. More money, but it would have been the worst mistake of his career.
I think people are also forgetting that his former player is the owner of the Suns, and Mateen Cleaves is like a director of player development there. So it's very MSU West-esque. It's so
Yeah.
There's a reason why I think he would also take the job, because there's a lot of Michigan State kind of influence on the team. And
That's fair.
I swear to God, if I have to see another Devin Booker, Michigan, Detroit thing, Michigan State, Detroit thing, I'm going to lose it. The kid, obviously from Michigan, but guess what? He was never going to work out with Tom Izzo. Why? Because Booker in college didn't play defense. He shot a lot of threes, and he probably wasn't going to pay attention to Tom Izzo. So enough of this whole Devin Booker, Michigan State crap. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's almost like this whole Amani Bates thing. I loved when Amani Bates committed Michigan State because I saw him play one time during like the COVID thing, and he played against, no, it wasn't the COVID. Yeah, no, it was COVID, because he played against Chet Holmgren. And when we couldn't play sports in Michigan, he made his own like high school team with Jaden Akins, Carson Cooper, whatever. And he played against Chet Holmgren. And I sat there and I go, I hope to God this kid plays on Tom Izzo's team, because this is the exact thing Tom Izzo hates, is this whole pass first, complain all the time, no defense type of player. And I go, this is going to be, I was sitting there like this. Then he decommits and I was sad. And everyone else is like, no, he decommitted. I go, you guys dodged a bullet. And look where Amani Bates is now. I think he's on the Cavs, actually. I think Amani Bates might actually be on the Cavs. No, so back to the main point here of Tom Izzo maybe taking a job. I think a little bit, Nate. I think Tom Izzo's losing it slowly. I think he's slowly losing it. And yes, we can talk about how great this next incoming class is. We can talk about how he's still gonna return most likely Jeremy Fears. I'm saying most likely because Trey Holloman left and no one expected that. You're still gonna have Cohen Carr, who I still think is the dumbest basketball player known to man. Incredible athlete. I think he should have played track and field, but he chose basketball. You're still most likely gonna have Jordan Scott, who looks like a girl. You're most likely going to have, I think you're just losing Kohler and Cooper. I think that's it. I think it's the only guys you're losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all you're losing.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're gonna have a lot of players, and you're gonna everyone is really hyped. Like I remember in the fall when this class was being solidified, it's like, oh my gosh, Tom Izzo's gonna get his second one next year. Newsflash, guys, if you guys don't get a center, you're not winning anything. And Terrace Reed and Adai Mara has proven you won't win anything without a true center. I think Tom Izzo is slowly losing his grip on college basketball. I think he's slowly losing his grip with the NCAA.
Yeah.
Look, this whole NIL thing, we've seen coaches leave already. We've seen Tony Bennett leave with UVA. We've seen the Miami coach leave. Like, he was shocked that, wait, we just made the Final Four and you guys want to leave? Like, this doesn't make sense. We just made the Final Four.
Yeah.
I'm sure Roy Williams was kind of turned off by that as well. Maybe Coach K, which is funny because Coach K was probably paying players regardless to begin with. But I think Tom Izzo's losing his grip on the NCAA and college basketball as a whole because of the whole NIL thing, which is funny. Like $400-500 million was just donated to your program in your athletic department. So crazy how that works to me. That still doesn't make any sense. I think the whole Dusty May, people want to downplay this whole Dusty May influence, but I think it's eating at him because Dusty May is building his national championship contender team on everything Tom Izzo hates. It's transfer portal, it's tampering, it's paying players, and the way Dusty's doing it is he's looking at the end of the NBA draft, looking at late first rounders, early second rounders, and goes, "Hey, why don't you bet on yourself? Why don't you bet on yourself? We'll give you $2 million. Bet on yourself, maybe make a lottery pick." And he's already proven in year one of this whole philosophy that it could work. Because look at Yaxel Lenneborg. He's now a lottery pick. When last year he was borderline first round. And on top of all this, Nate, he's still getting McDonald's All-Americans freshman recruits. Trey McKinney, freshman All-American. Quinn Costello, who's coming in, freshman All-American. 5-star Lincoln Cosby reclassifies, and then they might get the next kid that's another McDonald's All-American. So he's still doing it on both fronts, transfer portal and incoming recruits. And Tom Izzo looks across the way in Michigan and goes, I regret saying this needs to be a rivalry back in like 2000. I regret saying we needed a rivalry because everything John Beilein did and Trey Burke did has laid down this foundation, because without those guys, I still think none of this happens. And by the way, Ben Bosher, you pissed me off the other day. You said Yaxel Lenneborg is more important to Michigan basketball than Trey Burke. You realize Trey Burke had unranked recruits in his starting five? You realize this guy laid down the foundation and the map for Michigan basketball? Yaxel Lenneborg has been here 1 year. Really pissed me off, Ben. But still, great show, by the way.
Yeah.
But no.
I still think he had better players around him than you give him credit, though. I think LeVert was good. I think Mitch McGary was good.
He was good for 6 games.
Yeah, I get it.
And then he couldn't,
He got drafted by the Thunder. He just couldn't get off the weed. But,
he was good for – he wasn't – Mitch McGary, if he stayed off the weed, would have been an unbelievable player. But he was only good for his freshman year. He was only good for that tournament run. That was it. He wasn't good anywhere else. Maybe to start the year, but that's also when the whole weight thing was going on. He kept eating Wendy's Baconators before he went to bed, and then he was gaining all this weight.
He just wasn't very disciplined.
No,
Exactly.
Mitch McGary was not disciplined whatsoever. But
he is just a kid having fun. But
no, like his freshman year, if you were to look at Karis LeVert, Nick Stauskas, Glenn Robinson, they were untapped at that point, and they were freshmen. So like they would pop off one game, and then they wouldn't do anything for it's just what freshmen does. But I think Izzo has just lost grip on all of college basketball, Michigan State. And I also think you gotta factor in the Michigan State influence with the Suns, because he talked about Matt Ishbia, and he's like, I had great conversations with him. Well, Tom, Matt played for you. He won a natty with you.
Yeah, right. Well, and even with the MSU influence, I don't care how many similarities there are. You're coaching in the NBA is a different universe. The way that Steve Kerr coaches versus the way Tom Izzo coaches. Like, watch the Court of Gold documentary and the way that Steve Kerr coaches. Like, it's almost like he's just like clapping and cheering the guys on as they run their own
finally got
practice.
in here. Hey, we've missed
All
you, Schrock. He said I would pay money to see real Spartans play basketball. Well, yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
You know, Schrock,
Against real Wolverines.
Schrock, you know what I really want to do? I want to walk into the Coliseum and make a TikTok and just yell, "Are you entertained?" That's all I want to do. Are you not entertained? That's all I want to say. That's all I want to do.
That's our million view one right there.
Huh?
That's our million view video right there. You
Exactly.
might hit it right
on
the head with that one.
I walk out and I got
We'll line it up.
what is it? The Penn State music going when they played Michigan in 2019, and it's like the Penn State defense. And Mo Bamba's playing, and I'm just walking into the Coliseum.
All right, we'll bring a jukebox. We'll bring a jukebox too to make sure.
Or I'm trying to snap, and I'm like audible, and nothing's happening. Stadium pulse are just shaking. Yeah, no, I'll be safe.
All over the place. Yeah,
it's not a hostile
Welcome in,
environment,
Schrocky.
Schrock. South Bend.
No, ain't nobody scared of that. I actually told him last night because we were gaming. His wife was gaming with him. We were playing Fortnite, and I told her how much Jay we talk about Notre Dame on this show, and she said I can't say it on the show, but maybe she can come on the show and say it herself. So
Mrs. Schrock,
just saying,
be nice to Nate.
Mrs. Schrock. But no, Ryan, the other thing we got to consider when it comes to Izzo, again, I don't care. There could be, unless you're getting all former Michigan State players and they're familiar with Izzo, like stop it with this whole, it would be a perfect seamless transition. I feel like he is getting lost in the current college game. Yeah, you could say all that, and doesn't like NIL, and he's seeing a world that is changing rapidly in front of him, and it makes him very uncomfortable because he didn't win that way. The other thing we got to consider, though, Ryan, he's just getting old. He's 71 years old now. I mean, there is a timeline on these things. Saban, for whatever it's worth, Nick Saban, who probably could have been, just sitting up in the press box watching his team play, and it still probably would have been better than Kellen DeBoer, is 74. Right? So, he's getting to that point now, and obviously Saban was a couple of years ago, and he was 72. So he's literally 1 year separated from
players, not just him.
Well,
and Kirby.
Well, yeah, okay, you could say that, but
context,
he retired.
Nate, just for context, Beilein left Michigan at the age of 66. Just for context.
Yeah, and so and you got to think Saban left. I wouldn't say at the top of his game, but when you're still going to semifinal matchups and you're one win away from going to a national championship, like, you can still be successful, but also realize that maybe your grip on reality is starting to slip a little bit. Now, I even have these conversations like, when, like, can you, like, with your grandparents mostly, and for the people who are fortunate enough to still have their grandparents, like, there's certain things that happen with every passing year that they just do certain things that you're like, like, it's starting to slip a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, nothing too concerning. Like, they're just getting older. And I feel like we get that impression, at least I get that impression sometimes, from someone like Tom Izzo. Like, his voice isn't holding up and he hates everything that's going on in the college landscape and what it looks like now. And it really feels like, again, taking the bait from Michigan this year, which is something that I was not used to seeing Izzo do. Izzo was always above that stuff.
Yeah.
It, like, in a way, me growing up, we were we were little brother in basketball, like, my entire childhood. Like, that's what people would do. People would cheer for Michigan football, and then they would turn around and be like, "Oh, but I'm a Spartan fan." And I'm like, you can't do that, but people would. Because
that's a person.
That's how the state was.
I don't want to be friends with.
Like, the worst
that
kind of people. That's what I'm saying.
That should be on America's Most Wanted. You can't be a Michigan football fan. Like, that's just.
Don't you want to cheer for the Big Ten? No, I don't want to cheer for the Big Ten. Thank you very much. No, I don't.
Scary. They root for the conference. Please do not root for the conference. Schrock can't even root for other Southerners because Notre Dame's not even in one.
They just hate us Yankees up here in the northern states. But no, man, I and I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying this to, like, bash Izzo or be like he's losing his mind or anything, but the guy is 71 years old. He's just getting to this point now where it's, but the sad thing is, like, he still thinks 5 years from now he's going to be chasing a national championship. So you can't tell him to go away. You can't fire the guy. So now it's just a matter of, when does Izzo maybe finally see the writing on the wall and go, I can't do this for much longer. The world around me is changing, and unfortunately, I'm getting to the end of my line. But I will say, I don't think college basketball, at least the Big Ten, would be the same without him, whether we're beating them or whether we're not.
So I just searched up what is the oldest college basketball coach to win a natty, and it brings up that UConn guy, Gino, whatever his name is.
Auriemma.
He was 71 last year when they won. So I'm like, bro, that's not what I asked. And they still, oh my God. Jim Calhoun was 68. Again, another UConn guy, but that was it. That's the oldest one. John Wooden won one in 1975 as a 64-year-old, but, like, that doesn't really go anymore. Like,
yeah.
No, like, I just think
Wooden with UCLA,
like,
when they were winning like 11 titles or however many UCLA had when they were just essentially the best team in the world. Yeah.
They had
exactly.
Lou Alcindor.
So.
Kareem wasn't
yeah.
a person
Okay.
Yet.
All right.
Kareem wasn't real. Kareem was not a person yet. But, like, no, it's just, I think Izzo is just, he doesn't want, I think it still eats, I don't want to say it eats at him because, like, I feel like coaches and players don't factor that in too much. Like, you don't have to have a natty and all this and that. And for the people out there that are like, ring culture has ruined it all. Guys, what's the whole goal of sports? It's to win championships. It's to win a national, it's to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
If, like, again, we talked about it with the whole Scooble thing. To look back at, like, 2012, 2013, 2014 Tigers, it's not that it's like we look back and it's all about the first word that comes to mind is how did we not win it? Like, no one talks about, remember when Justin Verlander would come out and he was throwing damn near perfect games every day? No, the first word comes out of everyone's mouths is how did we not win it? Like, that's what it all boils down to. And if Tom Izzo retires and does not win another championship, you're going to sit there and go, how in the world did we coin him Mr. March and he made all these Final Fours and he won one national championship in 2000 and he coached for another 25 plus years? Like, that's the first word that comes to people's minds. So it's like, it's not about for sports is to win things. It's to win championships. It's not just to, like, be in the Hall of Very Good. It's supposed to be in the Hall of Elite and great.
Yeah. And to win one is really hard. Don't get me wrong. To win one is extremely hard. Now, also, I would say that there's more parity in college basketball than any other sport in the United States.
I agree.
Because when you talk about March Madness and single elimination the entire way, you know, like it is, you know, and even NBA players have said it is far easier to win a series than it is to win a one-game knockoff against whoever. So it is hard to win. It is extremely hard to win. And so nobody's not acknowledging that. It's just, you know that he's chasing the ghost of 2000, and he has been chasing that ghost ever since that year, and all the greats they've had and all the moments they've had. And I really think outside of Michigan State fans, what's really hard for them to accept is if you were to ask anybody else outside of that program, is MSU still a blue blood? However many straight tournaments they've made is amazing, but again, it's kind of like, the Wings making the playoffs for all those years. At the very end when they were just doing anything they could, let's just keep the streak alive. Well, you're just keeping it alive just to keep it alive. You're not actually built to go win a championship. Exactly. And so, that is, I will tell you,
That's
if they
why
ever
I say
do
we can't
win
call
another
ourselves
one.
Hockey Town. We can't call ourselves Hockey Town anymore.
Well, history-wise, I think there might be something there.
Nate,
but
we haven't made the playoffs
recently,
in damn near a decade.
I know it's been a decade. I know
whatever city the Florida Panthers are in. That's
it's been a
Hockey
tough
Town.
decade. I think the popularity of hockey on the east side of the state of Michigan might necessitate a nickname like Hockey Town, because look at how many products we've produced, for the Olympic team and everything else like that.
Yeah,
so
We
I'm just
haven't
saying,
made the playoffs in a
it's
decade,
popular.
and we won't make it this year.
With the Red Wings specifically. Sure. Yes, I'll give you that. But no, Izzo, 71 years old is up there, man. I don't see him coaching in another 5 years. I mean, but you can't fire him at the same time too if you're Michigan State. So it almost kind of feels like rock in a hard place with that program. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what way he ends up going, and hopefully Michigan can bring it home this year, and we're gonna have that trump card over every MSU fan that there is, especially in the game of basketball. Let's hope we get both of it. Hockey also getting into the Frozen Four as well. They haven't won it since '97.
So you're saying potentially within like a 3-year span, football, hockey, and men's basketball would have a national championship. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Let's step aside when we come back. We're going to do a little Lions talk. The Frank Ragnow situation is a fascinating one. Man, right when you think the Lions are starting to figure it out organizationally, they just find a way to once again make you scratch your head, and this is a head-scratching situation to say the least. Jason Kelsey actually had a really good take on this. We'll talk more about that on the other end of this break on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Inside the Game powers along here on the National Soccer Network. Nate Wangler and my favorite rage baiter in the world, Ryan Glinsky, Mr. Social Media, social media builder himself, has been doing a great job with the Sports Nation.
Truck's still in there. Truck's still in there.
The Irish, the Notre Dame Irish. All right, I thought you were talking about Irish people.
Jelly roll thing, so I'm like, I gotta get him back.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I would have done this if you beat Purdue, but no, you had to let Oscar Clough and Braden Smith and the guy who has the worst looking jump shot of all time and Trey Kaufman-Renn beat you.
Yeah. I like that big white guy Texas has got, though. What's his name?
Something
Big
that
Whitey
has
in the
too many
middle.
vowels in his name.
Yeah, Big Whitey should be his nickname. I like that one. But anyways, let's get into the second part of our conversation. A little NFL talk. We haven't talked about the Lions in a minute. The Frank Ragnow situation. Ryan, I'll let you lead the way on this one. Sound off, young man. Go ahead.
So I made a video and I said, there's really like nothing wrong with this whole situation. Obviously, like it's a bad look for the Lions organization. But at the same time, you look back and you can see both sides. If a player does not, I get it, no NFL team ever does this. But at the same time, the player didn't live up to his the Controversy University Wolverines. Hey, how about you get blown out in another national championship game to Alabama, or get blown out? You want to talk about controversy?
Schrock, if you
Manti
actually
Te'o?
win, people are gonna fake girlfriend.
Manti Te'o, we
Schrock,
really
if you
wanna go
actually win,
controversy.
if you actually win, they come after you. Like they try to tear you down if you actually win. You know, if you're not relevant, then there's just no need to go after that program. Why would you go after them, right? So thanks. I guess controversy is probably, people are still talking. If they better be talking about you than not talking about you. It was a good line that you brought out yesterday. But anyways.
Also, Brian Kelly, you employed him for like a decade. Do we really want to go that route, Chuck? Anyway, I digress. God, this guy's getting me. He's gonna bring up Jelly here soon. Anyway, so I look at the situation, and he didn't play the final 2 years of his contract, and I think there is something to still be said about players who don't play the full contract. I get it. He played through this. He played through that. He was in the most enjoyable stretch of Detroit Lions football history, where they went 12-5, won the division again, and then they were a 1 seed and lost. But at the same time, if you don't live up you don't play on your side of the bargain, there's nothing that's stopping the Lions from being like 10 years on down the line. It's like, yeah, we're trash. Let's just give you the $1.5 million back, Frank. And like they did it with Calvin, they did it with Barry, but at the same time, they could use the $1.5 million towards the roster. I don't know. I do not accept Brian Kelly as a coach for them. LOL. Yeah, I would agree. I wouldn't accept him either. Family.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a family here at LSU.
Family.
And then he's at Notre Dame. Yeah, this is the Irish. There's a family at LSU. We're going to be bought in. We're going to have a Heisman Trophy quarterback and Jaden Daniels. And then, yeah. Oh,
ridiculous.
And Brian Kelly's just a mess. Anyway, but no, I look at it, and you also got to think, I look at both sides, and I go, well, Frank did this for you. He played through this. He was drafted by Quinn Tricia. I think that's enough PTSD for one person to play through that. But it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. And do you want it? Like, I guess the idea is to keep your stars happy, but at the same time, he didn't play through his whole contract, and they only took half the signing bonus. I think Frank's fine, and there's nothing that's stopping from a couple years down the line where they're like, hey, Frank, here's $1.5 million back. And maybe the $1.5 million added to your bank account in 5 years is going to go a longer way than now. So, I mean, hey.
Yeah. The question of the player or the organization, whose side am I going to take? Normally, 95% of the time, I will take the player's side. Every time, period, end of story, goodbye. The reason being is because normally it's the player's rights who I would like to stick up for, not the big wealthy organization I don't really care for. But there are exceptions to that. You know, like James Harden, I think, is a little bit of a nuisance. I don't think I would step up for a guy who wants to switch teams every single other year, because again, at that point, you're just being greedy. Like, you're just forcing teams to trade you. But is that what Frank Ragnow did? No, it's not like he was sitting out because he wanted this, that, or the other thing. He wasn't being a diva. He was just genuinely beat the hell up. And also, it's worth noting, if you're a team in the NFL and you make it into the playoffs, everybody is playing with some sort of ailment and injury. Every single person on the field is playing with something. And I loved what Jason Kelce rather, had to say about this topic. Now I'm summarizing here. I'm not saying it word for word, but quote, if Frank Ragnow had been deemed unfit to play by the Lions medical staff, Detroit wouldn't have been able to retain part of his signing bonus. So in other words, the same bonus that is meant to guarantee that you are going to get that money regardless of injuries, even in the event of a serious injury, is now being taken back by the Lions because they deemed him, quote, healthy enough to play. And they think that, in other words, what the Lions are saying is, you're being dramatic. It's not that serious. Ryan, if you're going to sit here, and if anybody in the Detroit sports scene is going to sit here and tell me that the Lions medical staff had no idea that Frank Ragnow was not at 100% and could play through this laundry list of injuries, which was a growing list, those people are probably flat earthers, and that's fine. Listen, it's a free world. You can believe what you want to believe, but we don't exist in a fairy tale land. That is, in so many ways, that is so disingenuous by an organization when it comes to a player like Ragnow, who was a key piece in that machine that nearly carried the Lions to a Super Bowl championship. It's BS, to really summarize it. You're going to sit here and you're going to honestly tell me that you think Frank Ragnow is lying about the severity of his injuries, that he's lying about just how bad it is, and that, no, the bonus is meant to cover you. It is a guarantee. So this is a stipulation. They've done it before as an organization. They did it with Calvin. They did it with, I believe, Barry. I forget who are the other examples of who they did this with, but they did it with those two. So this is the part about this organization has changed in some ways, sure, but it also hasn't changed at the same exact time, which is the F you, give me my money back on your way out the door, despite what you gave this organization. That's Bush League. Oh, and by the way, this isn't the NBA. I don't see offensive linemen being like, oh, well, okay, I have a stubbed toe. I'm not going to play the next 3 games, or I'm out, or I'm done, or I'm retired. Yeah, it is exactly. I guess they don't have 300 plus dudes who, run 4 foot or 4.7s or whatever. Yeah. So it is mind-numbingly dumb to be like, nobody in the organization knew that Frank Ragnow was unfit to play. And you also can't
Chris
look at me and be
Collinsworth
like,
can see it, anyone can see it.
Yeah, you can't look at me and be like, he's 100%. So this is a cheap Bush League way of nickel and diming a guy who made a huge impact on your organization on the way out the door. Oh, and by the way, you ain't doing shit with $1.5 million. Really? That's gonna make the difference here?
They're gonna go after me. They're gonna go after me.
Stupid.
I'm gonna be on the Lions this year.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna come get Ryan to come get Ryan to play. No, it's Bush, and anybody it's funny because I go on Reddit to look at these stories sometimes when I'm doing my research, my getting ready for the show, because I have my own opinion, but I just want to see what unfiltered BS that I can see from the peanut gallery. And the people who are blaming Ragnow, it's just stupid. I understand he didn't. Yeah.
Really?
I can see if I can find the Reddit trend. I think there's a Reddit
I don't know how
trend
you
in
can
here.
blame
Hold on.
Ragnow in this situation.
He signed to make millions of dollars playing a violent sport. Injuries happen, and that's the risk you take to get paid millions to play a game. He retired at the worst time possible and screwed the team over during our championship window. We now want to get back a little cap space to help us before the window closes. I don't see a problem with it. That's just their say hey, I don't know, on Reddit. So
people
and that's 17 likes, by the way.
Mind.
17 likes.
17 people have lost their mind.
Likes.
Like, I look at the situation and I can see both. I'm like, well, Ragnow did not uphold his end of the bargain. I can see that. Can see that could be a factor. I can also see, well, he did this for you. He did that. He played through this. He played through that. And I can see both sides. I think it's just of a sticky situation. I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't even know you could pull a signing bonus like that when the guy hasn't played for almost a year. I didn't know you could do that. Yep. So I'm just more shocked. But it just shows it just show again, we don't know exactly what goes behind the scenes. I don't think Frank has ever came out and said anything. I also don't think Frank's the type of guy to say this, to say anything on the matter. But I'm just looking at it and it's like, I mean, I guess. But I'm like, if you have 1.5 million, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, if you want to sign me to the practice squad, I'll take it, Detroit.
Yeah. It's just Bush League and it's disrespectful. That's the reason why I don't like it. Now, technically, could Calvin have continued playing? Absolutely, he could have continued playing. Calvin could have played a few more years. Now, I know he had back issues. Barry could have obviously played more. That's notorious for retiring early. Absolutely, but it's just it shows a level of disrespect. And if you're going to disrespect like those guys, what do you think the organization thinks about everybody else? The most important dudes on the field, if they're willing to disrespect them like that, how do you think they feel about the fans? How do you think about everybody else that's in the organization? Like, that's what really doesn't sit right with me.
Maybe, maybe free agents look at this and look at it a little different. Maybe Cade Mays is like, I want out of the contract. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. Cade Mays is like, screw this.
Right? Yeah. Get me out of this. So no, I don't, there is no, normally I would say 95% of the time I will take the place or the position of the player. There are exceptions to this. Like I said, in the NBA, if you're going to sit out an extended period of time, because you're like, I don't like my teammates, I want to go play for another team. Okay. Well, whatever. Like,
hurts.
Yeah, exactly. I stubbed my toe. Yeah. Completely different conversation, but no, Frank Ragnow, I mean, and it's I told you about, my buddy who played at Central Michigan. He even said that, like, when you get to game 10, 11, 12, he goes, you might not be injured to the point to where you can't play, but he goes, your head hurts, your back hurts, you got aching joints, like everything hurts. And that's why when we're like, let's add another game to the NFL season, I'm like, the NFL, just like FIFA, does not care about the players and the player safety.
With the stupid international games. It's the same thing with the stupid international games.
And like these concussion protocols and like the helmets they're coming out with, it's like, hey, look at all the good things we're doing to help support player safety. Also, we're going to add one more game to the regular season because, why not? Like, more money. And also we're going to do this and that and add more teams. And it's a sticky situation.
I don't want to compare like the NFL to high school soccer or anything, but when my sophomore year, when we played 3 games every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, dude, I couldn't move by Saturday. And then when I looked at the schedule for my junior and senior year and I saw there was only 2 games a week for the whole year, you don't understand how happy I was to look at that, because I was playing almost every game, and by that Thursday or like that Friday, like afterwards, I like just laid in bed the whole time. I'm like, I can't move. Like, I don't want to say like, I don't want to compare myself to an NFL athlete, but like, there's a level of playing where it's like, you're not hurt like you mentioned, but it's like, dude, everything just hurts.
Everything hurts. And I mentioned Jerome Bettis yesterday, right? Because we were talking about organizations that were once great that are now
let's not talk about Jerome Bettis. He's a Notre Dame guy. Schrock, I know, is still in there. Let's not talk about Jerome Bettis.
But anyways, he mentioned that the next day after playing.
Look at your pen. Ah, it's not even there. That's my favorite part about
the Pulisic celebration or whatever it is. What does he do?
He does this.
Oh.
He's got like tiger eyes.
Tiger eyes, yeah. Well, let's hope maybe he scores a goal with us. But anyways,
let's go.
But he used to say that the day after playing, it's like getting in a car crash. Literally. Like, it's how your body feels afterwards. And again, I played in high school, but like even the leap between high school to college.
Played. He was a bruiser of a running back.
It is true. But you wonder why running backs flame out so early, and that's exactly it, because they just get the shit kicked out of them every single Sunday, every single Saturday. So, no, I think this should sow a level of distrust, I feel like, in the Lions organization, and just that fans should be upset. But there's something about Detroit. I just feel like we don't put our frustrations in the right place sometimes. I think sometimes we take it out on players and not the organization around them. Like, I even feel the same way about Tarek. This is going to carry us the next 6 minutes, so I'm going to bring this up really quick. Tarek being held to a pitch limit. Was that his choice? I don't know. It wasn't. Clearly it wasn't. I think he didn't want to do that. I think if he had his way or his wits about him, he would have been able to choose where he wants to go and where he wants to pitch and what he wants to do. But when you're in a contract year, the Detroit's like, ain't no way. Ain't no way you're going out and throwing any more than 55 pitches. It's not going to happen. No, I'm not comparing him to Frank Ragnow. I'm just saying.
We're talking World Baseball Classic. Okay, I thought we were talking about playoff situation. I'm like,
No.
Regular
no,
season, I can see.
Situation.
Regular season, I can see.
Different situation.
That dude gave a 400-foot bomb to center field yesterday. Hey, shout out to Tiger Bats for sucking once again. But yeah,
Right.
no, I
Right.
can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with school, man, is why we got to announce every single thing. I can't wait for him to sit in a middle school gym to announce that he's going to the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
Let me add this in real quick. This might get
That is true. All right.
Let
Go
me
ahead.
get this to the first 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes here. Can we say that the Final Four venue is the dumbest thing in all of sports? I do not want to watch basketball inside of an NFL stadium. That is the dumbest thing. Whoever came up with, let me see who came up with this idea. Who came up with Final Fours? And
By the way,
NFLs?
quick thing I wanted to mention. I know that yesterday you had mentioned we had missed Huda Betta. Now I don't know if
we did it again.
We're planning on doing that, so we can fit that in tomorrow. We had a lot of moving pieces today, so I assume that's probably why
when I got here,
we kind of missed the boat on that.
When I got here, we were focused on this thing. We were focused on the interviews. We were focused on so many different things, and then I was like, oh my god, the U.S. Open Cup draws go live. So let's react to that, which we will post our reaction on social media. For Detroit City getting the one and only Greg Berhalter. Huda Betta will be tomorrow. I don't know who it'll be, but it'll be something. I don't know, but it'll be something. I don't know who. But this,
all right.
Again, I do not know who in the world came up with the Final Fours in NFL stadiums, but you might be the dumbest person ever. Because who in the world, I mean, I understand it. It's money. I get it. But who in the world would want to spend hundreds of dollars to sit in the nosebleeds of an NFL stadium to watch a game on the Jumbotron? Also, what also makes this sport even more dumb is the students who are behind the net can't even watch the game either because they are lower than the court itself and they can't actually watch the game. And the best part is all the seats are the same. So if you're in the back row, you can't even watch the game either. So what do? You're like this.
Yep.
Jumbotron. It is the stupidest venue in all of sports. Why are we? Why do we continue to do this? I get it. Money this, ticket sales this. But you know what, guys? Let's just put it in an NBA arena and be smart with it. But no, let's just make it even more dumb.
Yeah. Yep. It does. It just, you want to pack as many people humanly possible into these places. And so that's exactly how it is. Let's get the question of the day.
Question of the day. Okay, we're just going to skip more. Okay, well, looks like we're going to end the show early here today. Okay. All right, then. Nate's got to get out of here, I guess. Salt Athletic, an official sponsor, is here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off. The #1 spell proof cleat bag that 100% works. Scan the QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. But this is question of oops, wrong one. Why can't I click on it? Okay, there we go. VMix was messing up.
All right.
What is the best Detroit sports moment you've witnessed? This does not include Michigan State. This does not include the 1984 World Series because you weren't even born for it. This is something that you've watched live on TV, could be in person, but what have you watched live?
Maglio Ordonez walk-off home run to send the Tigers to the World Series over the Oakland Athletics. It was years ago, but that is, in my opinion, Dickerson's best call ever. Oddly enough, it's actually a call that, and I had heard this from someone who took one of his classes, because I think I think he was teaching classes at Central Michigan. Either that or he was like a guest appearance at CMU. I think it was probably more that, but came in for a class, was talking to the kids. And my current broadcast partner actually approached him and was talking about that call specifically, the walk-off to beat the A's. Now, it was a sweep, I believe, so it really seemed like inevitable that the Tigers were going to win that series, but there's no better way to put an exclamation point on winning that the AL crown and going to the World Series than a walk-off home run. I don't think there's any more fitting moment to really kind of, boost that moment. And so I loved it for what it was. Watching Placido Polanco, I mean, I feel like nearly leap out of Comerica Park when it went over, running around the bases, and just the scenery of the crowds and those postseason crowds in Detroit. When they're good and they're winning games, like. Yeah, well, I always say that like the Wrigley's and the Fenways are probably the best baseball experiences that you'll go to. Yes, absolutely. But Detroit's up there when they're good. And so it is a place where magic happens. And so that moment was awesome. But also Dickerson's call was you could hear the joy in his voice. And I think, Homer's in some ways, I think it bothers certain people. Especially objective viewers, you don't want to homers, being a homer.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So it might bother some people, but you could tell that the passion and the energy and the love and all of that for the organization, and especially being with them through what was the biggest turnaround in baseball history, which I think is odd enough that we have the biggest turnaround in baseball history and also arguably the biggest turnaround in basketball history with the Pistons and what they've done. Now they have to finish it off by maybe going out and making an NBA Finals, but this is all of that could be really felt through the words that he was saying. Like you could genuinely, from a Tigers fan, you could feel what Dickerson was feeling in that moment. So I would probably have to go Mags walk off to send him to the World Series over the A's.
Yes, like Homer Simpson, Truck. Yes, I agree with you. And it's funny enough, we still haven't won a World Series game since 1984. Shout out the Tigers, man. Got swept both times. I would say the best moment I've watched, and there ain't many moments I've ever watched. I was too young for the 04 Pistons, too young for Maglio Ordonez, too young for the Red Wings.
You've only seen the team suck for the most part, haven't you?
Yeah, but I've seen Michigan be good, so it's all
I just now realized that. That's true.
I will say the best sports moment is the Lions beating the Rams in the playoffs. That is the best Detroit sports moment. I could say the Yankees, like that was awesome, like seeing the Tigers beat the Yankees, but then we just got blown out in the World Series again, so that wasn't fun. But no, that was really good. But no, it was, if you want to talk about calls, I mean, Dan Miller, that was an unbelievable where Amon-Ra catches it, gets the first down, and he just screams, "That's gonna do it! That's gonna do it! That's gonna," like he's crashing out. He's like, "The Detroit Lions are gonna win a playoff game." And then just to see all the fans like crying and like so much joy. And then what happened a week later when you beat the Bucks, and we won't talk about the moment after that, but like seeing these fans like cry and everything, like it's unbelievable. And then I will say that was kind of annoying with the Bucks was they panned Aiden Hutchinson. He's just looking around. Aiden Hutchinson was a Patriots fan growing up, just putting it out there. To see all the fans cry and to see like what they have worked towards since from the 3-13 season to the crazy turnaround the year before, and then to win the division, and then to do it against Matt Stafford of all people. And what made it even better was Kelly Stafford was crying. They were booing the kids. They were booing the kids. No, they weren't, Kelly. They were not booing your kids. They were booing your husband, and having the first playoff game ever at Ford Field made it even better too. But no, the Kelly Stafford aspect adds it better. Kelly, you are not the main character. Your husband that makes 9 figures is the reason why people are there. Just saying.
Yeah. And then she goes on a podcast and she's like, "I actually wanted the backup quarterback, but Matt Stafford."
Yeah, that's even better too. Yeah, she wanted the Georgia backup quarterback. Yeah.
Y'all, when you say that we should make podcast equipment unaffordable for everybody, there are some people that I 100% agree that should be the case. They just because you have a laptop and a mic doesn't mean you have to open your mouth and talk. You can just not talk. That's fine. That's cool with everybody. So yeah, Kelly Stafford is certainly top of the list. But no, man, what I'll say is I think Dan Miller does a great job of encapsulating the moment too. I think he his line "touchdown Detroit Lions" is synonymous. Like everybody knows it. It's the same radio call that I would listen to on Sundays, especially, going to and from church when I was younger. But it is the way he calls the games, his energy, all those other things. He's one of the best kept secrets in the NFL because unfortunately the radio guys, for the most part, they don't get their flowers a lot because nowadays everything's on TV. Like it used to be that radio was obviously a much bigger
when they
deal.
Post all the radio calls on social media.
That's fair. But Dan Miller's a pro at what he does. So that was a good one. Wings moment. I mean, I would probably say.
Okay. I didn't. We're going down the list here.
Oh, I mean, we could go down the list if you want. How about Tayshaun Prince's chase down block in the NBA Finals against the Lakers? Better than bronze. I would actually honestly say that it was better than LeBron's if you go back and watch that one. The Wings?
Because there was still like 3 minutes left in the game and Kyrie hit the shot.
That's true.
And if we're really being honest, even if that layup goes in, it's only 2 points and Kyrie Irving's 3 goes in, they're still winning the game.
You know what's funny? I actually just thought about this too. You don't really have any like fond Red Wings moments that you remember, do you?
No, they just suck.
Wow, man. That's crazy to think about. Like, hold on. When was their last Stanley Cup?
09? 08 they won.
Yeah, I guess. So what? You're 7 years younger than I am. So 08, I would have been 12 years old. So you would have been 5. So probably not really paying attention to the Wings at that time. So you haven't. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to think.
Hey,
nearly
Michigan
2
football's
decades.
got a national championship. I'm fine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. So I guess any of those moments probably you wouldn't realize. I mean, a lot of great players. I don't know if there's one specifically that stands out. One that always pisses me off is the Marc-Andre Fleury laying on his back, keeping the puck out in the last seconds as the Pens won that Stanley Cup.
Hey, but to be fair though, Hosa's shot went across the goal line for past Osgood, and then we won the cup. So
that's true.
Hey, Pavel, get the puck out of the zone.
Marian Hossa, R.I.P. man. That guy was on the Pens when they lost to the Wings, and then he came and played for the Wings, and they lost to the Pens in the Stanley Cup. That dude had it rough, man. Rough. Wrong place, wrong time. But no, it probably has to be Mags. That's a call that, in terms of my top calls in Detroit history, it's either that one or it's probably that one. Yeah, it's probably that one. So, anyways. Danny Dickerson, give me an invite, huh? Let me just hang out for 3 innings or something. That'd be fun. Be on my Adam Jackson one of these days when the Tigers are playing the A's. But anyways, that'll wrap up episode 262. Big thanks as always to everyone that is following us either on the live show or on social media. Our social networks right now are going nuclear. I mean, every time I look at specifically the TikTok page for NSN, I mean, we're getting new followers. I think we got videos routinely up over 4,000 or 5,000 views. So this is it's crazy to see how quickly it's catching on. And then obviously Ryan, I believe between the two pages, has the highest viewed video, over 20,000 likes now. And that was the Yaxel Lendenborg video of the media training.
Properly, and they let me. And the thing was, is people didn't even like notice. Half of them didn't even notice. Like there was a small percentage of like, that's not how math works. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. But it was so much. Right. It was gaining so much traction. I'm like, I'll be stupid for a little bit. It's fine. I'm not a math major.
But maybe one of these days we can pick out some of our favorite comments and actually go through, because now we have more than 1 billion comments to go through. So maybe there's some doozies in here that we can certainly read off on the show. But until 263 coming up tomorrow, our final episode of the week. Thank you once again for stopping by. This has been Inside the Game.
Hey, Sam, would you wear a Soviet Union hockey jersey?
Probably not. Maybe in Russia.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer.